Hey everybody, it's Coach Cliff, exercise physiologist and sports nutritionist, and I want to share with you something that will blow your mind. Okay, so here is a female that you're looking at on the screen, a female monthly hormonal cycle. Men's are different. Men don't do a monthly cycle, they do a 24-hour cycle. But women have this monthly cycle. You all know about it, you're very familiar with it. But here's what actually goes on with the hormones during the month. All right, let's start on day one. Day one is when you start your period. So on day one, when you start your period, your estrogen is at this level down there. And it starts to go up over a period of time. By the time you reach about day 15, you're at your highest peak of estrogen for the week. During that time, testosterone starts to climb as well, and it's at its highest peak as well. This phase, we call it manifestation, but it's really your ovulating cycle. It's when it's the time to have a baby, right? Progesterone, the red line, as you see, stays very low until you're done ovulating, and then it starts to head up. Estrogen will come back down as progesterone goes up, and then you'll get a nice little bump at the end of the month, but testosterone's already back down. Here's what people don't realize. Everybody's doing low carb diets, high protein, high fat, nothing wrong with it. But you do keto or carnivore or Atkins back a while ago, or any of those low carb type diets. Let's just call this one keto. Change the thickness of this so it's not so big. You do a keto diet straight through all month, every month. Here's the problem. Your estrogen, when it goes up here, it loves fat plus protein. So a keto diet during that time, it works. It's good. You'll probably lose weight during this time because another thing happens as well. You feel like you want to be very active during this time, 11 to 15 days, maybe even a little bit before that. You feel good when you're doing whatever workouts you're doing. You feel better. So you'll probably work out harder during this phase, during the manifestation phase right there. Then as progesterone, the red line, starts to go up, your progesterone loves carbs. So if you're in a keto diet and DHEA, which is a precursor to testosterone in men and women, so DHEA will turn into testosterone. It's the precursor. That's off the screen. There you go. You can see it. It can also go into and create cortisol. You've all heard of that word. It's your flight or fight hormone. So when that's elevated, you're under a stressful period. Now, think about, first of all, two things. Think about life. We're stressed all the time. There's always things coming at us, especially if you have kids and you have challenges and financial and whatever it is. Like your crazy busy long days, you get up early and you go from the get-go. And somewhere in there, you find 30 to 45 minutes to try to get a workout in, which then doesn't work anymore. Once you hit 40 or 50, yes, you're stronger, you feel better, you'd feel really guilty if you didn't do it. So we push and push and push and create a stressful situation for ourselves, and DHEA turns into cortisol. Cortisol will blunt progesterone, which is the number one reason for infertility, PCOS, gut microbiome problems, on and on and on and on. If we have gut microbiome problems, we have autoimmune disorders. So people say, I have fibromyalgia, my doctor doesn't know what to do. I can tell you what to do. You reduce the stress, whether it's internal, family life, financial stress, work, all those things, or you reduce the stress during this time of your workouts, slower, lower, more yoga, more hiking, more just gentle exercises. Now, if you're a hardcore CrossFitter, you say, but I love my workouts. Cool. Go do those workouts. Do it with lighter weights and do more of what we would call a flow CrossFit workout. Everything's just smoother. Don't kill it during this time when you're doing your workouts. So every trainer tells you when you're not losing weight, they'll say, all right, you got to go a little bit harder, be more consistent, push a little more, and then let's just decrease your calories a little bit. Absolute opposite answer. What you need to do is increase your calories, lower the fat and protein. We still have some in there for sure, but we increase the carbohydrates during this time. Now, your thought in your head is, I'm going to get fat. You won't. And here's where you have to trust the process because it works. And people will say, oh my gosh, I feel so good. I feel so relaxed. Like my anxiety is almost gone. The depression that I was suffering with is almost gone. I don't feel guilty eating this. And I'm actually still losing weight on a carb diet for part of the time. Here's the reason. We call it metabolic shifting or switching. This half of the month, right in through here, loves keto. Your brain loves ketones during that time. The other half of your brain loves glucose, which is the simplest form of a carbohydrate. When a carbohydrate is broken down into an individual molecule, it's a molecule of glucose. And the molecule of glucose will go through what's called the Krebs cycle, and it will yield, I think it's at 36, I'm forgetting, ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And when the ATP phosphorylates, it becomes 36 ADP. Am I losing you? I think this is really cool. And then it'll phosphorylate again and become adenosine monophosphate, and then creatine or creatine phosphate, creatine, you've heard of that. Take some creatine before your workouts, is a carrier for phosphate to regenerate adenosine monophosphate back to adenosine triphosphate. Okay, don't worry about that. That's the complicated stuff. That's where your mitochondrial health will improve when you're eating like this. So here's the crazy thing, is that people will find one thing that worked for their friend and do it the whole time. And everybody thinks that carbs are bad. None of it's bad. There's a time to do keto, Atkins, carnivore, higher protein, higher fat. Good for you. And there's a time to lower that down and increase more carbs into your diet so that you have better well-being, better mentality. You feel better. You actually lose weight through this. So there's your answer there. The real answer lies behind this, and how do we put this into practice? We'll help you with that. We'll help teach that. But this is it right here. And there's more levels that have to do with this too. We put in some light fasting protocols, whether it's intermittent fasting or some longer fast, and there's different times to do those, like during this time when you don't want to stress your body, absolutely no fasting whatsoever. During this time, we can put in some fasts. And another video, I'll talk about the power of fasting. It's mind-blowing what fasting can do for you. But this is just how to cycle your macros throughout your monthly cycle. And if you're not doing this, it is really hard to get to the goals, get to the outcome that you want. Really hard. So there you go. Hope that helps a little bit.